Greetings, YouTube. Recently, I found myself in a conversation dealing with politics. I know, shocking. And one of the things I encounter frequently is people claiming that progressive worldviews are too politically incorrect. And I've often rankled at that call because I don't think that progressive worldviews are politically correct. I feel that there are progressive people in the world who do expect a politically correct universe when there isn't one. But I feel by and large, most progressives do not, and I myself do not believe in a politically correct world. What I do believe in is an inclusive world. Hold on a second. There we go. An inclusive world. And what I mean by that is I want a world in the media and in politics and in society at large that reflects the reality of the world around me. And the reality of the world around me is that America is not populated by white Christian straight people exclusively. In fact, there are lots of people that aren't white. There are lots of people that aren't straight. There are lots of people that aren't Christian. And expecting all the things that we see around us to reflect that reality, to my mind, is not being politically correct. It's simply asking for reality to be displayed in TV and in movie and in comic books and what have you. I was listening to an interview on the way to work last night, and I was talking to a woman who is writing a character for Marvel. And apparently the new Miss Marvel is being relaunched in the near future. And Miss Marvel this time around is going to be a Muslim woman who is a shapeshifter. This is a departure from the traditional role of Miss Marvel, who I believe has pretty much always been a kind of a Wonder Woman knockoff. I'm not positive. I don't have much of a memory of her. I didn't think I ever read her as a full-fledged title. And some people are upset. Now, some people in the fandom are upset because some people in the fandom are upset about everything. The sun rises in the east, and this annoys some people in comic fandom. But also, there are some in the socially conservative world who are also upset by this fact. They don't like the fact that this character is being changed to a Muslim. Even though, at least, we can't complain that, they're not complaining about the fact that it's a woman. It's always been a woman. But the reality is that there are Muslim Americans. And in a universe where there are superpowers, why can't Muslim Americans have superpowers? There isn't any reason at all. And if they're going to reboot the character, you might as well make the character a little more interesting than just another white bread character. We've seen that before. This character has been that for a very long time. It's nice to see a bit of diversity. I appreciate that. I like diversity in the world because it's inclusive, because it reflects reality. If you look at comic books, the world looks really white and straight and Christian. But the world isn't really white and straight and Christian. And that does not mean that we are excluding white people. Now, on YouTube, I have repeatedly been called a self-hating white person. I'm not. I simply want to reflect reality in what I consume and what everyone else consumes. I don't think it's really asking much to see characters of diversity in TV shows and in movies and in comic books and everywhere else, in comics in the newspaper and in social media. It's not weird to want to see these things. And it doesn't mean that I'm trying to exclude anyone. It means I'm trying to include everyone. And therein lies the rub for me. I don't understand how you can't grasp that by being inclusive means the white people were invited too. One of the problems is that I think this falls into the same category as I've spoken in the past about privilege distress. There are people who are upset that their particular demographic is no longer center stage. They have been ignoring the fact that they've been a member of an assembly cast for decades, for centuries. But the reality is, they're a member of a cast that has always been diverse. They've just been the ones on center stage and made sure that everybody else was behind them. Well, now we're putting everybody out there. We're letting everybody have stage time. And that's a good thing. Because out of that will come wonderful things. New ideas, new thoughts, new forms of art, music, film, television, comics, music, and you name it. It's going to be a good thing. You get much more interesting interactions when you have multiple chemicals. And having everybody present on that stage is a wonderful mixture. And it's going to do wonderful things for us as a nation and as a world. And wanting to see that in media does not mean I'm excluding anybody. It means I want to include everyone. I've never understood the cognitive dissonance that is involved in not grasping that being inclusive means the white people are invited too. That certain segments of American society are so offended by the very thought, it doesn't occur to them that they've been given an invitation. They're just not used to having to accept one, because they've always had an invitation. Well, now they're just one of the guests. No better or worse than anybody else. And that distresses some people. But that's reality. And I'm willing to accept it. And I would really love if all of them were too. But, you know, I guess we'll see. So, in closing, everybody should have their time on stage. No one gets to be center stage forever. And that's just the way it is.